let's get down to the nitty gritty. Do you guys recall Monday when this happened? 2-4, and that ain't good. And Salah might start losing that team. And if Salah, I'd fire him mid-season. Kaboom.
You want to throw another kaboom in there for?
Well, I mean, that's not much of a good. They fired him before that. You said he might start to lose the team if they go to 2-4. They're 2-3. They haven't lost to Buffalo yet.
That's right.
Clearly, you were wrong.
I know.
I don't even know why we played that.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Jesus, whose idea was that?
Adam, there has to be
You
more.
want another clip?
Yeah.
You want another clip?
If they lose that Buffalo game, I'd fire him. I'd fire him right then. Because what else are you going to do?
For losing to Buffalo?
For being 2-4, I'd fire him.
Okay, the question becomes, though, was it the right move to fire him at 2-3?
I mean, it's close enough. I mean, like, if we're going to split hairs, I don't think anyone else was running around town saying that we're going to fire Robert Saleh. I mean, I think
that's why it comes out. It's coming as a surprise, not a shock. People aren't blown away, but I think it's.
I was surprised they fired him this week, but my point is this. Okay. All right, let me just refute, I guess, what people are saying. Here is Colin Cowherd talking about the firing of Robert Saleh. I've not heard it, but I'm told that it will make me angry.
All right.
So Robert Saleh this morning said he was blindsided, fired by the Jets. And we warned you, if you go to London, where Woody Johnson was the former ambassador to UK, he's got all his bougie billionaire buddies in the stadium.
As opposed to the United States, where the Johnson family runs with the guys that work at Valvoline.
Yeah. Well, they're mostly like bodega guys, and it's a New York blue collar crew.
Absolutely, like a lot of like it's basically King of Queens. He goes into his friend's basement and watches the game. I like that. In London, where he was. Like he became the U.S. Ambassador to London because of he didn't have any connections here in the U.S.
No.
He just made it all. He started getting that ritzy. He's heir to the Johnson & Johnson fortune. He's 80 years old. He's about as 80-year-old billionaire as you can be. He wears big sun hats.
Complete with umbrellas in the sunshine. John Henry has mastered that.
Yeah, exactly. You know that he had like a mammy and everything. Like he's like a real
a mammy.
Yeah, he had like a staff.
When was the last time you heard that?
Well, that's kind of why I said it. It's the reference. She was a good woman. Oh, she was like a mother to me.
Like my mother.
She was like my mother. My mother was a distant woman, but Mammy was there to be mama. He was one of them. But Mammy did the right thing. Oh, I love you, girl.
Make me a butter biscuit.
Yeah, she would say, "Oh, child," and give me a butter biscuit. All right, and it continues.
Ex-Jet Sam Darnold beats you. Something's going to happen, and it did this morning.
Yes, they went in Sam Darnold's dominant 17-point performance against them really got them twisted. And Salah, by the way, I don't believe was coach when Sam Darnold was there. No, he wasn't. It was Adam Gase, so I'm not really quite sure what the problem is.
So in the moment, for all you alphas out there, it feels good. Yeah, it's like going to the batting cage when you're in a bad mood. Congrats, you just fired the most competent coach on your staff. Nat Hackett is probably the worst OC in the league.
That might be very true. Van Pelt or Hackett?
I'm just going to say, Van Pelt's ready to give him a run for his money.
Yeah, the Hackett thing's not wrong.
He's still there because Aaron makes sure he's there. So this will be the fifth head coach, interim coach in 11 years. For the record, if they beat the Bills on Monday Night Football, that terrible Robert Saleh coach, they would have been in first place. With
at 3-3, dum-dum. They would have been first place if they beat Buffalo. If they don't beat Buffalo, they're 2-4 and they're down in the division. That argument doesn't make any sense. If they beat Buffalo, Salah has what was it? 20-33 record as the Jets coach.
36.
20-36 record as the Jets coach. This wasn't his second year. 3.5 years as the coach of this team. No, all right, Colin. You buy a franchise with all your Fox money. You're hiring Robert Saleh as your coach? Hackett's a terrible offensive coordinator. Fine. Should they have fired him? Yep. But that doesn't get rid of it. That firing Saleh is at no way a negative. It might not be a positive, but it's not a negative.
Way past his prime Aaron Rodgers. So ask yourself, what is easily the best part of the Jets? The defense, the part he coaches.
And the part that the defensive coordinator that was a head coaching candidate is now taking over his job. So that's a dumb argument. And Saleh probably is a great defensive coordinator, but he's not a good head coach.
Okay, but how does any of this, not that it's necessarily your concern for this season, but how does making him the head coach and not changing the OC and not changing that dynamic make the offense better?
The idea, well, first of all, I don't know what was going on internally. Like, I don't think that they fire Saleh if the team is, obviously they're not going to fire Saleh if, like, the team is head over heels for the guy.
Right.
There obviously has to believe, and I don't think it's just Aaron Rodgers. Maybe it is. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. But I would certainly, this is the first time in 25 years Woody Johnson's fired a coach in midseason. He's never done it. So I have to imagine that he didn't just go, I'm going to go fire this guy today on a Tuesday morning. I believe he probably met with a lot of people on Monday. He knew who the interim coach was going to be. There had to be conversations. Now, should Hackett be fired? Yes. Pro Football Talk is saying that Saleh tried to take away the play calling duties from Hackett, and then they fired him. Like later he came in the morning, told the coaches that, and then was fired. No one else I've heard report that. Pro Football Talk is a lot of, I'm not so positive.
We have Antoine Staley at 740. He can maybe clarify all of this.
Please remember to do that, because I will not, and I'm not being sarcastic.
And Aaron Rodgers is doing some protecting of Hackett.
Oh, that's why Hackett's the offensive coordinator. There's no question about it. Yes, they've gone all in on Aaron Rodgers. But Saleh is not a winning football coach. There's a lot of problems with the team, but I just don't know how firing Saleh makes anything worse. And why everyone all of a sudden is protecting his job. If he would have gotten fired in the offseason, everyone would have been good.
Because at the very least, if you said if what's really wrong right now is the offense, someone stand up to Aaron Rodgers and say, this Hackett thing is not working.
Okay, very good. They should have probably done that. But why? What has Robert Saleh shown that he's a competent head coach of the NFL? That's the thing. They might have not done something else that needed to be done, but they didn't make a mistake.
And I'm with you on that. You can't absolve the head coach just because he has coordinators. You know, you don't take away all responsibility and culpability from a head coach just because he's got one guy running the defense, one guy running the offense. You can't say, well, it's not my problem. Yeah, it's still ultimately your problem.
Yeah, you're in charge of the team. You are the head coach of the football team. Like, you are ultimately responsible. And Hackett's not his first offensive coordinator. He had the offensive coordinator now of the Rams, who are coached by a pretty good coach, who thought he was valuable enough to bring in, was your offensive coordinator that you failed with.
Roberts.
By the way, that offensive coordinator took him to the crap Rams teams to the playoffs last year.
Saleh didn't whiff on a quarterback and a left tackle in the first round. Go ahead, Colin. He didn't get along with Aaron Rodgers. Well, we told you that a couple of weeks ago, and you pushed back on your Go Green Reddit boards.
Yes, the Go Green, the very vocal Jet fan base that is so positive.
When we told you they're not getting along, it's not rosy. So now suddenly you're an expert on the relationship between Robert Saleh and Aaron Rodgers, and I don't think they get along well. I don't think Robert Saleh, a little bit too much ego. He just couldn't keep things to himself.
All right, well, then that's a problem. Fire him. Then fire him. You can't get rid of Aaron Rodgers. Fire Saleh.
When he banged on Aaron Rodgers, the best cadence quarterback in the NFL, in probably my entire life, offense, defense, special teams, the three phases of football. Here's the fourth. When you have an old, rich, prickly quarterback, monitor what you say at the podium. Well, Colin, Aaron's difficult to get along with. Yeah, I know. Ask Mike McCarthy, but that's the deal. You brought him in to save the franchise. Don't humiliate him. Don't embarrass him. Yes, he can be sensitive, but in the end, you're on your 5th coach, head coach or interim coach in 11 years. This is what you are as a franchise. This is a team that is good at one thing, the one thing Salah coaches, and they could be in first place by Monday night.
Yes, and well, make up your mind. Did he make a mistake? Is he too free with the media? That's part of being a head coach. And the defense is good. The defensive coordinator is becoming the interim head coach. So what did you want him to take an outside coach? I heard this argument, too, yesterday. I heard it to Pete Schrager. And then it was like, well, why don't they bring in Belichick? And then Schrager said, look, I don't know the entire history of the NFL, but can you tell me one team that's brought in an outside coach in the middle of the season? Like, and how that would possibly work? It's a huge game on Monday night. You're bringing in a guy on Tuesday, flying him in and going, all right, install your program by Monday? Okay. How the hell's that going to work? So Belichick comes in and all of a sudden Belichick's all around and in 5 days they got it all set? Their defense was good. Yeah, he's the head coach. Go make him the defensive coordinator somewhere else. He's the head coach. The Jets are a terrible franchise. Really, Colin? I was under the impression that they're good. Oh, that they have the longest playoff drought in professional sports? Yeah, I think they're kind of a bad organization. Woody Johnson's 80 years old. He owns the team. He wants to win. Are they going to win? Probably not. Does the offense a disaster? Absolutely. Is Aaron Rodgers past his prime? Of course.
Is Aaron Rodgers have a little bit too much power there?
Of course.
Okay.
Because
so
that's why Nathaniel Hackett is the offensive coordinator.
And that's going to be the narrative. And he hasn't earned it.
No, he hasn't. But I'll tell you, well, maybe his career he's earned it, but he hasn't earned it based on the first 5 games of the season.
Who's the only other quarterback to really go in there and start calling shots and get coaches fired and do
Favre.
that?
Favre got Mangini fired.
And Brady. Brady made a bunch of changes in Tampa.
Yeah. So, Favre got Mangini fired. But they didn't make the playoffs. And Mangini, by the way, had the best winning percentage of any of those coaches that – in the last, I think in that whole time that Colin Howard was, the last 11 years.
It's not unprecedented, but it's still, and if only by a week, Fred, even by your own admission, a week early. You lose to Buffalo, fine, do it.
Fine, but that's really splitting hairs. It's really splitting hairs. Robert Saleh is not a good head coach. He's not, and it's ultimately his responsibility. And everything else, you're right. Hackett, not you and everyone. Hackett sucks. Aaron Rodgers has too much power. Aaron Rodgers is over the hill. All of that's true, but this isn't. He didn't get fired because of these 5 games. He's got fired because of the last 3.5 years. He's not good. He's had his opportunity. 3.5 years in the NFL is a good run. That's a lot. That's not a crazy owner or a nutty guy in Carolina who's Matt Rule's fired, and then he's bringing in another guy and firing him. It's not crazy. Stop it. The Jets are a terrible organization. I get it. It's a trope now, though. I get it. But this was not an insane move.
If you like that clip, and how could you not? Check out more videos from Toucher and Hardy here. Point slightly up and to the left. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. Point slightly down and to the left. And for the latest from the Sports Hub, download at 985thesportshub.com.